Hello and welcome back to episode 24 of the Broad Run podcast. It's been a wee while since our last one. Just want to jump back on and say thanks very much for listening again. Hopefully this is something that's a bit interesting to you today. So today we're talking about, could beetroot juice be the next key to your next PB? So I want to talk about all things beetroot juice, something that people have been using recently. Want to see if this little drink, something that's been sort of eaten and drunk for a long time, could be the key to your next running PB. I want to talk a little bit about the science of it. And in a new trend, we're starting to hopefully cite some evidence when we're sort of talking about different things and about why it works. So, yeah, great stuff. You probably see I'm sitting in my vest just now. I've just came back in from a run. Today was a little easy run, easing back in as we've got a half marathon race on the weekend. Not only me, but lots of running clients are going to do, so it should be fun. And will I be utilizing the power of beetroot juice? I think this first became popular around Kipchoge's 2 hour marathon attempt, where he basically said that he was using it, and I believe that this company Beetroot, which is what we have here, is we were part of the sponsor team. So it was around that sort of sports performance and around that sort of time where sports performance really started looking for what they're calling the marginal gains. When you're doing things right to the very extremes, you want to make sure that you're sort of pushing the boundaries and getting everything you can out of the sport you're doing. Obviously, for most people, I think this is clear to say from the top that most people need to be focusing on doing the basics well, as you know, that's like 99% of it. When you reach to the point where you're doing everything absolutely well, just that was my dog, by the way, jumping in the screen. So if you see the dog there, apologies. If you're doing the basics well, then you don't need to, you can start exploring other options. But if you're not doing the basics well, then there's obviously lots of other things that you can do well before you're looking into things like beetroot juice, carbon shoes, heat training. You want to make sure that you're first of all getting the mileage in. So yeah, I just want to talk a bit about this. So basically, beetroot, the reason that it is so good is it's full of nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. And the reason that this is good is it helps dilate your blood vessels and increases blood flow, improves how much oxygen you're able to put around your body. So the whole theory behind this is it's supposed to basically increase your muscular efficiency, so your body is able to transfer more oxygen around and have less oxygen utilization when you are running. So more oxygen is actually getting to your muscles, allowed you to run sort of harder for longer. So it has become very popular amongst runners and other endurance athletes. I know it's quite big in the cycling peloton. So yeah, and most of the time in these top level things, if some new fad comes along, if it hangs around, that typically means it works. And obviously they've got the data points and everything behind the use of these things. Most of us don't have access to sort of lactate profiling tests, VO2 tests. We're just sort of going out, but if you can go out and do a run and test it yourself, that's obviously the best way to do it. So basically, yeah. So to cite the first study in the Journal of Academic Nutrition Dietetics, found that the nitrates can improve time to exhaustion by 16%. So obviously that's quite a big gap. I absolutely murdered the title of that of that study, so apologies. But there's no edits here. We'll just crack on. So yeah, it just observed that beetroot juice reduced the oxygen cost of exercises, meaning that they needed less oxygen for the same amount of work, which was able to sort of affect the runners in that study. Obviously, 16% time to exhaustion, that's quite big, and that's in sort of trained and untrained runners. So I imagine, I don't have the exact data from the study, but I imagine it would probably affect more in the untrained individuals. And yeah, so how should you use beetroot then? So I've been using it this week. normally this company Beetroot advises that you would have up to 5 to 7 days before the event. You would have one of these every morning or before you go to do exercise. So as it states, you want to have 1 to 2 shots 1 to 3 hours before training, 6 days before competition, and then on the race day itself you want to be having two. I always say to people that I'm a bit wary about people taking two on race day, because one thing that is worth noting is this can be pretty volatile for your stomach. So if you're not used to it, I would definitely use it before 1 week and make sure that you're sort of used to the effects of it. So one of the main effects actually is when you go to the toilet, both sides, you will see that it's completely red and dark red, very much like the beetroot juice itself. So you want to sort of make sure that you're aware of that, because some people sometimes get a bit panicked when they go to urinate and it's completely red. So yeah, 2 to 3 hours before. So basically the reason that they've stated this is it takes your body time to convert the nitrates that are in this into nitric oxide. So it said the typical dose you would do anywhere to 300 to 600. This bottle being 400 milligrams. Or that would be this is a concentrate, of course, so it's at 70 milliliters. But if you were to have that into like a normal glass of beetroot juice, you'd be looking at around 500 milliliters. So yeah, obviously having it in this shot is a lot more convenient. You can put it into your bag, take it to work, take it to the gym, take it wherever you're going to take it, put it into your race belt if you're going to do the race. So yeah, that's how you would do it. And yeah, does it work? So me personally, I think when you take it, you do feel an effect when you're running. I wouldn't say it's like going to be a magic bullet, and I think that's probably the same with all these marginal gains. But I will say that for the same effort, sometimes you feel like you've got like a relatively stronger run. Perhaps you'll see heart rate, a slight bit lower, and that's just obviously me personally. It's basically one of the things that I should touch on is those who have a high diet in vegetables, so vegetarians, vegans, who eat a lot of sort of leafy greens. These are naturally high in nitrates as well, which is actually one of the reasons that people believe that veganism and vegetarianism is so good for endurance runners, because of these high nitrates. And you'll notice that quite a lot of ultra runners and marathon runners are of that persuasion. But they reckon that when you take the beetroot shot, that in fact it doesn't have such a great effect because your body's so high in nitrates already. So yeah, this is worth noting. So just something to note. So basically, in summary, I would say about this little magic pill is, will it make you a faster runner? I would say there's a good chance that it will, although it will give you a slight edge. I will say, as everything, you need to make sure that you are dotting the I's and crossing the T's before you come to something like this. You want to make sure you're doing the work, and you're not going to expect to turn up to race day and shave 5 minutes off your time just from taking this. But if you're doing everything you need to be doing, you're following your coach's plan and you're doing all your training, then it might be a little nice something you want to add in just to sort of take your training and your racing to the next level. Anyway, check out Beta. There's no affiliation with this. It's just something that I'm interested in. As always, I'll put the links to the studies in the bottom of the podcast. Hopefully this has been a good little short podcast, 10 minutes, and you've enjoyed it. If there's anything you want to hear on the next one, or anything you think might be the next fad, or you want to talk all things training, then just drop me a message on Instagram, or just drop me a message on either of these platforms that this is on, YouTube or Spotify. If you give me a follow, subscribe, or whatever, it obviously helps me. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed. See you on the next one.